document InDesign. And the first question is, when you have some kind of an image on a document, so I'm just going to go get an image. I'm just going to get something random, like a bear. I'm glad I didn't type beer in there. That would have been a big faux pas. Freudian.
There you go.
So I'm just going to get an image and put it into InDesign, and we'll see what we can see about it. Okay, so let's just get this guy right here. Oh, I bet it's this thing right here. I'm going to kill this little program right there because it's been problematic in the past. Okay, the recorder got turned off for a little while, but this site that I'm on right here is a site with 50 websites for free vector images. And we looked at the image that was in InDesign, and it's a PDF image. So we're going to look at different ways that we can work with that PDF, which is basically a flattened image. Can you just send me the PDF? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to open Photoshop.
So how is it still considered an InDesign file if it really is the properties of a PDF?
Well, because in InDesign you can place anything. Okay, so if I just went File and then Place, I could drop any sort of file into here, anything from an image to a PDF, and it would be dropped in there. And it really has no relation to InDesign at all. It's just
So
a
do you
PDF.
think it was something that she may have created in Photoshop and then
Well,
dropped?
the three programs that export to InDesign or to PDF most easily are Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign. So she either made it in InDesign and then exported it to a PDF, right? Or she made it in Photoshop or Illustrator and did the same thing. Now, if she actually originally made it in Illustrator, then the file she sent you was a final version, not the master version. And I don't know if that has anything to do with the fact that she left on bad terms or not,
Yeah. Well, this came from what they found at the gardens, and when I was talking to her, she said she didn't keep the originals because the files were too large. So if she had anything, it was a PDF, which is
what you got. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me check my mail here and see if I got your email. Not yet. It's pretty big, right? Is this still sending or?
No, it says send.
It says sent? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and you did to Greg at dreamco.com?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why it's just going to take a little second here. I can go out and maybe get a little faster. Um, let's see. Mail. Hmm. I don't see anything yet. Check back here. And you spell Greg with one G on each end,
Mhm.
right? Make sure it was.
Yes, that's what it meant. Oh, dream. No, that's
Yeah,
why.
you put an M on the end of it.
Yes, I did. Let's try this again. It's habit when you start typing CO, the M
Oh, the M comes
naturally
in.
follows.
Yeah, it might even the computer might put it in. Icons is usually a good word to use because that means a collection of images, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like this kind of thing.
Right.
Boy, this guy's going nuts, isn't he? Cowboys. He's like, okay, I made like 12 cowboys. I'm just going to use them. The camel's pretty funny. Yeah, I mean, there's some cute stuff. That's pretty cute. It's
I know they
stylistic.
have a monthly subscription, but
Oh,
I
I'm
don't
sure
know
it's
if I want-
pricey.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to show it out. And I need to get back in touch with their marketing person that's there now and see if they already have
A subscription?
Yeah.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice? It's like gold.
Yes.
There it is. Looks like it's downloading. Oh, here it is. Let's see if that will open in Photoshop for me. Okay, so it comes in as a 2-page PDF, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like it's 300 DPI, which is fine. So you decide which page you want to open. In this case, I'll just leave it on one. Okay, so that's it in Photoshop, right?
Okay.
Now, it's 300 DPI, which means it's good enough to print.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably at the right size, which is, I imagine, it's sort of what, 8.5 by 11?
It's an oversized postcard.
Oh, okay, it's like 11.5. Okay. And is the final thing going to be the exact same size?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. All right, so
Some of the stuff looks like. Oh no, it's just you can't really see it because of the background.
yeah, well, so what you can do is, so obviously it came in without, drop the background out, which is great, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Photoshop, you can click on this layer button here and make a new layer, right? And you can double click on that to give it a name. So I'm going to call this background. So the background comes in with that transparency, right? Now if I click that and drag it underneath the existing layer, now it's underneath it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The next thing I can do is I can say select all, which grabs the entire layer that I'm currently on, and I can say edit, fill with a color, and I can choose white.
Okay.
Okay, and then I can deselect that because it's just kind of annoying to watch those little marching ants. I say deselect layers, right? Now, so you have that layer that you can turn on and off at any point, right? But that just helps you to view it.
Right.
Okay, so now, and notice that there's cut marks there and everything, so you probably want to keep some of that. So now we can look at what kinds of things you might want to do. This, there might be a desire on your part to try and salvage that big image in the middle, which you could do. One way that you could do that is you could draw a box around everything that includes that big image, right? Beyond the layer that image is on, right? Not on the background, but on the layer that image is on. And you could copy it. Okay, so we've copied that. Now, if I say edit paste, as long as I have copied something, it will paste a new layer with just that thing in it, right? Okay. Now what we could do is we could turn off the original layer. In fact, we want to name these things as we go, right? Because it'll make it a lot easier to deal with things. So we'll just call this guy sun or whatever. Okay, now you can turn off the original layer to see just what you're dealing with, all right? Now, we'll come back and talk about these little icons in a second that are not this big picture, but in the short term, the first thing I might want to do is nuke everything that's not the big picture, right? So I might want to get rid of that.
And you're just hitting delete.
I'm just hitting delete, yeah. Okay. So I'm just making, and it's a little tricky here because the sun's popping out over here. So I have to start a little further out so I don't cut off his little tentacle. Okay, and then of course there's the cactus I don't want to delete, So anyway, after a few choice deletions here, you can probably get a lot of the junk out of here, and then leave yourself a little job of cleanup. So I'm just kind of trying to narrow it down to make my job a little easier. So I'll just stop there because now I got a lot of the big stuff, and then it's, what do you do to get the smaller stuff? Well, to get the smaller stuff, you could zoom in using the magnifying glass. And then you have a variety of choices of things to do to get rid of these other things. One thing that's helpful is that this is all black, but the fact that this is black too and that it intersects means you can't use like the selection tool of the magic wand, right? You could, however, use the lasso. And all of this, you might consider everything I'm doing as like sort of going from more general to more specific. So like notice that the first step I did was cut the big general picture out, right? Then I go in and I went in and I cut out big chunks that I could get pretty easily, right? And now I'm going in and getting like what you might consider medium-sized chunks. And the final step of that would be to go in really close and clean up, where what you might call fine detailing or something like that. Now I'm just kind of doing this quickly, but obviously, if you had this were the real deal, which it may well be for you, then you go in and maybe spend a little more time than I'm doing on this stuff.
What about that overlap stuff in the...
Okay, yeah, I was just thinking about that. So let's get rid of this last piece, big obvious piece here, and have some, I don't know what animal that is.
Dog, I think.
A dog, okay. Okay, so now, I know there's more stuff up on top, but let's not worry about that right now. So what will we do about the overlapping stuff, right? What you would more than likely do is you would either fill it with a flat color or you would clone stamp it out. So let's look at both options. So to fill it with a flat color, you would, can you see it okay? You would make a selection that is everything you want to fill, and once again you get as much of it as you could. Then you click on your eyedropper tool and you would click on the color that you want to fill it with, right? And now you've got a selection made, so you would simply say edit, fill with what's called the foreground color, which is the one
Okay.
you just picked, right? And then you hit OK. And then, oops, we just knocked that out, right?
Okay.
Now another thing that you can do, this requires a little bit more skill, is you can use a clone stamp tool, also called the rubber stamp tool. And what that allows you to do is change the size of your brush. You can see the number changing in a couple different locations, and change the hardness of your brush. When this is all the way to the right, it's a rock solid brush. When it's all the way to the left, it's a soft edge,
Okay.
right? So that's the rubber stamp tool. Now the way that works is you click on the rubber stamp, you choose your brush size and hardness, then you hold down your option key and you click, just like we sampled before, you click somewhere in the green, that you want to sample, holding your option key down. Now then, when you go to paint over this line, if you'll notice when I click, see that little crosshair there? It's actually sampling from wherever that crosshair is.
Oh, okay.
So you have to resample at times. Like, see, if I, like down here it'll still work because see how the sample is
Right.
on top of it? But sometimes you have to move your sample to a new location so you don't, like, see, if I tried to paint here, it would sample the white,
Got it.
that's up on top there.
Okay. Yeah, I've used that
Little thing before.
on occasion, and I would have that issue, and I was wondering why is it now all of a sudden changing the color on me? But okay. So
Yeah, and that's what it is. So in other words, if I was sampling, if I'm getting ready to paint this thing out, now I would take a new sample, I would hold down my option key and I would click underneath where I'm going to paint, and now it shows the X
Okay.
underneath, or the T, or whatever you want to call it, right? Now, so what I would do is I would go in there, and I would be in the same position as you are, which is like, look, I don't want to, I have this and I want to try and use it. I would rather spend 20 minutes of my time than $40 of my money, trying to buy a new one, right? And plus you're learning, you're getting better at Photoshop, right? So I would do all the stuff I've done, and then the very last things that I would do would be to click on the eraser tool and get a very small eraser. That one is probably too small, maybe 10 or something. We'll just get something big enough that we can see. And then that would be the final thing I would use to go in and clean up these little crazy things, right?
Okay.
And certain things, I might not even bother with. Like, if you take this line out and this line out and you clone stamp that, this is still going to be a little thicker than the rest. You could click on your paintbrush tool, fill your foreground color with black, and then get a really thin brush, like a 2-pixel brush or something, and then brush around the edge of that. Or you could not bother because it's going to be so small. Who's going to see it, right? So I would think that within 15 minutes to a half hour or whatever of probably 20 minutes, you could clean that up. You'd clone stamp out this stuff. You'd slice those. You'd get rid of that. Get rid of that stuff around there and that stuff around there. So it's really not that bad, right? And then you've got your sun. Now, if you want to rename the program, you would just highlight this and fill it with yellow, and then you could put your new text on top of that, right? So that gives you your sun, right? So let's turn him off for a second, and of course you can have this Photoshop file do whatever you want with. And the same principle would apply to all these other icons, many of which you could reuse. In fact, I'd be surprised if you couldn't reuse most of them, okay? So, here's an easy one, this cactus. We'll zoom in on it. You would make sure you're on that layer, okay, original layer. You would use your marquee tool to draw a marquee around the object. Right now I'm clicking on the magnifying glass and zooming in, right? Just to see what I'm getting. And I'd say, okay, great, that's what I want. So I would go under Edit, Copy. And the great thing is when you paste, it just pastes a new layer in, right? So we'll go Edit, Paste. It's going to paste a new layer in it, and I'll almost immediately name that. So I'll call that cactus. I'm going to name it Cactus Hat because it looks like a cactus in a hat, right? And of course, what I would do then is turn off the original layer and just deal with this. So in this one, just erase, 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 and you got it, right? Some of them look very easy because they're on top, right? Like this guy, the bone. Now the bone, because it's its own unique color, you could use the Um, oh, you could use the magic lasso for. I've been having this problem lately. I can't seem to get the lasso up. There we go. So you go back to the original. You click here and see it selects the whole bone, right?
Wonderful.
So you copy that, Command C, and then Command V to paste it in, and the bone is now its own layer. Now, wouldn't it be fantastic if they all did that, right? Um, okay, so, but we only get so lucky. Okay, holding down my space bar gives me the hand tool, which allows me to move around, right?
Okay.
Some of those are going to be a piece of cake. Some of them a lot harder, like this dude right here. You got to wonder if that's really worth it. Some things you could create yourself, and you know, like these little splotches. You know, so you have to make choices about the reward versus the effort, right? Like this guy's pretty cute, and you just have to clone stamp a couple things there. This guy's pretty cute. He's also going to be a little bit of work because he's got lines right over him. I would probably, you know, being my job, I would probably try and grab most of the major big stuff like that, and that guy's going to be, you know, not too bad. And then, you know, that looks pretty easy. Let's get something that, and the bird looks pretty easy.
Now, the big change is obviously going to be the calendars because the dates are going to be falling on different days.
Right, so you're going to
So
need to
it's-
make brand new calendars.
Okay.
That's the easiest way to do this. There's no way to go in and
Okay.
simply do all that stuff. Plus, not only that, but it's a new year, and you know, I don't know if the dates are all going to change. You know, the locations and stuff.
Right.
So, how would you make those calendars? Well, if it were me, I would probably make them in a program like. Let's see, what programs are you the most familiar with?
InDesign,
Mhm.
really.
Just InDesign, really? So you'd rather just edit things, like do image stuff in Photoshop and then place it all in InDesign, kind of thing?
Probably.
Okay. Um, okay. So going to InDesign to talk about the calendar, we'll get rid of our little bear here. Okay, so so we could make a table. And there's probably a way to drop a calendar in here. In fact, let's just do a quick search and see if there's some plugin that will make calendars in InDesign, because it would more than likely be free. Say make calendar with InDesign. Oh, maybe I should type plugin or something. Okay, so that's how. Those are a couple of how-tos. Template would be good. Template time. I should say. Okay, 2013 InDesign calendar template. So let's see, and that's from Adobe. So, excuse me, Adobe Community InDesign 2014 calendar template. That looks even more promising. Should have been able to download flowing calendar. Blah blah blah. Okay, this is just a big conversation. So let's say free InDesign 2014 calendar templates. Everything in the world's out there, you just have to know. Okay, so here's a free download. Let's see these guys. I don't know if they're going to charge us. That big question if they want to charge you or not. It's calendar template time, yay. Okay, now here we go. Isn't actually a template, it's Adobe Calendar Wizard, a script which adds calendars to InDesign documents. Okay, so that is really cool. Let's check it out. Oh, look at that. Calendar Wizard. Very awesome. Okay, so let's just download this and see if it's actually as cool as they claim it is. What's happening? Is it thinking? Is it... Your download will start in 1 second. Oh, it's one of those things where if you want it to download faster, you can make a little donation. Yeah. Okay, so InDesign Calendar Wizard. Let's see where that ended up. Oh, okay. Where would it be? Looking for something that has any We should do InDesign Calendar Wizard. Let's see. It should have downloaded onto my desktop. Let's see. One more quick look. Nothing there. Rings a bell. Gallery files. Yeah.
Files.
No,
Oh,
it's
that's
not that. That's
yesterday.
me. Yeah. And of course there's downloads, but downloads is an even more scary proposition full of crap. Let's see, downloads. Oh yeah, we're not going to find it in there. So we just have to figure out what the heck it's called. Oh wait a minute. Oh look, they took us to this page. Calendar website. Oh, it's called Calendar Wizard. So what happened? They didn't actually down. It's called Calendar Wizard. Okay. So let's look under C. F. There it is. Calendar Wizard. Okay, so we double click on that to open it up. Okay, there it is. Now it's gonna be this little crazy thing that gets input into InDesign. And so it says it's a little script, blah blah blah. Okay, thank yous. What about instructions? Introduction. God, it'd sure be nice if you just give us a little like how to get it in there. Yeah, too much trouble. Let's just see if we can bring it in. Let's see, utilities, scripts. Okay, so let's see, bring in a new script. Alright, we're just going to have to look it up. So, cancel. How to use InDesign.js script. How to install scripts in InDesign. Okay. Let's see, blah blah blah. Download the script on your computer, decompress it. Show up with a plain text file with a special file name extension. Java script files can be run on Mac or Windows. Apple script files. Oh, so what do I just double click it? There are two places you can install scripts in InDesign: the application folder and the user script folder. The easiest way to find these folders is to open the scripts panel in InDesign, Window Automation Scripts. Okay, then right-click on either Applications or User. We tend to use User for scripts. Okay, and Reveal in Finder. Okay, so we'll go into InDesign. Let's see, Scripts, Application. What did they say? They use User? Okay, so we right-click on that and we say Reveal in Finder. Okay, and there's the Scripts panel, which has nothing in it, right? So, gosh, I don't know. I guess I would just grab all this stuff. I wonder if I should take the whole Calendar Wizard folder. No, I'll just grab all this stuff and drop it in here. Okay, so there it is. So, let's see. Do I have to restart the program? Okay, so that tells us what to do. Inside the folder, there's a folder called Scripts panel. Put your scripts inside that. Any script in section will show up immediately in InDesign. No need to restart the program. A folder called Scripts panel. Well, that's a big lie. Data merge. So let's go back to this. Application. Script, JavaScript. Oh, these are all the... it's sure looking like they're an application in JavaScript, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
JavaScript. Let's let's add them in there. Oops, damn it. I dragged them over. I didn't.
Oh,
Yeah, that's okay.
delete them.
I'll do it again. All right. Okay, we'll get rid of README. I don't know that those folders belong in there, but I don't think they're going to hurt anything. So these are, yeah, let's drag them over there. Work with me. Fine. Oh gosh, really?
German holidays.
Okay. This is.
I went to the restroom.
Yeah. Okay.
I may get lost.
Okay. I'll come look for you if
Okay.
you never come back. Jesus. Oh, these are JSX. That's probably not going to work then. AppleScript. Oh, that's JavaScript. Bring on Calendar Wizard. All right, Calendar Wizard showing up in here. So now we got to see how this thing works. Wow. Okay. Wow. Awesome. All right. We'll have to go back and look, but okay, so the recorder for some reason has been stopping, and it's recording now again. But what we just did was we downloaded what's called a script from this. Let's see, not from this website, from this website. We downloaded a script called the 2014 calendar template. And we were able to download that and install it, and the way that we installed it was by reading the instructions on this page. Now, first we tried dragging it into the user file and it didn't show up, so what I eventually ended up doing was just dragging the whole folder, the Calendar Wizard folder, into the samples folder, which is inside of the applications folder. So if we close this up, this is what you see when you go under Window, Utilities, and then Scripts. Okay?
Okay.
It opens that up, and you see Application and User. And so what I did was I opened Application, I opened Samples, and then I just Control-clicked on that and said Reveal in Finder. Right? Then what I did was I just grabbed the whole Calendar Wizard folder, the uncompressed version, and dragged it in there.
Okay.
So that it's all in one place. Now, so now I can open it up from within this, and I can just simply double-click on this calendarwizard.javascript file, and it launches this, right?
Okay.
Which is this incredibly thorough calendar that you can use to do different months, right?
Okay.
So what's one of the months? July or something?
It's June, July, August, and September.
Okay, so you'd have to go through here because I know that it showed different options for making small
Okay.
calendars. June through September, right? Now I don't know. Somewhere in here it's going to say if you can put all 4 of them on one page, or if it makes 4 different pages, or whatever, right?
Okay.
And there's also those instructions that came with it.
Okay.
Oh look, custom page using all values for page size are specified. So custom page size margin, custom calendar placement. So calendar style.
Oh,
set.
here's calendars per page.
Oh, great.
Oops.
Good for you. So 4 of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. And then let's see, it's portrait, isn't it? Or no, it's landscape. It's letter, but it doesn't say where the format. Oh, it's landscape right there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So here, we'll just do this just to take a look at it, right? Isn't that awesome?
That is pretty cool.
It's very cool. It's like, hey, somebody created that and gave it to us for free.
Yes.
So there you go. So we'll, obviously we'll give you all these files. So we'll go ahead and save this. You are going to have to install that,
Right.
and I'll give you that folder too. But let's make a.
It will be readable in my 5 version.
Oh, thank you. No, not unless we say that it's going to be this. Then you can open it, right? So we're going to go onto the desktop, and we're going to make a new folder. I'm going to call it, is it AEL or
Just
EL? Yeah, okay. We're going to make a rich folder, and we're going to call this calendar. Okay, and while we're at it, we'll go ahead and we'll grab the Calendar Wizard folder, copy that, and we'll drop that onto your folder too. And of course, we'll save the Photoshop file in there as well. And then I'll just save this Photoshop file in there right now so that you definitely have it when you go. So desktop and okay, R. So I'll just leave that crazy name for it. Okay, so that gives you a calendar, that gives you a way to extract as many of these as you want or are willing to put the effort into getting.
So if I've got that original InDesign file with the calendars,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to pull specific images from the Photoshop
Mm-hmm. Okay.
file, is that possible?
Yeah, it is. It creates a little bit of one more step that you'll need to do, and let's do that with the cactus hat, right?
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we'll turn off everything except this, right? Now, oops, seem to still have a bone there. Okay, so let's just do a half-hearted cleanup of this thing, just so that we have something we can work with. So, okay, and notice I have to be on this layer to be able to work on it. If I'm on any other layer, it's going to say no, I'm sorry, but you can't play. Okay. So I'm just going to do, and if I were really working on this, I'd probably put my glasses on and zoom in,
Well, the little black ones look like little spikes coming out of the cactus anyway.
Yeah, right, there you go. And I don't know about this, but I'm going to do the best I can. I missed a little bit, that's okay. Nobody's going to care. Okay, and then this. Okay, do the best we can, right? Okay, so there's our cactus, right? Now keep in mind that that is actually on a transparent background.
Okay.
Or it's on a transparent layer, I should say. The
Okay.
background is
Just for our
just for our purposes,
Okay.
right? So we'll turn that off so that it doesn't bother us. Now, what I tend to do is, I tend to, like when I have a file like this that has a bunch of different things on it, I tend to go in and find the thing I want. I crop the entire file down to that size, export it, and then back up so that I have the whole file again.
Okay.
Now, it's a little bit of a dangerous way to do it. In fact, it's not a bad idea to save your file before you do something like that. But let me show you what I do, and you can decide whether you want to take this route or another route, right? So what I would do is I would go over here and, let's see, I would find my crop tool, which It's easier said than done. I know where it is.
There, oops.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so I would grab my crop tool. I would just get my cactus head here, and then I would hit the check mark to say crop. Now, obviously, it cropped out everything else, right? But this is just a temporary thing I'm doing. Then I would say File, Save As. We'll do it in your folder here, right? And I'll call it Cactus Hat. And I would save it as something called a ping, which is the transparent background, right?
Okay.
And do save. And just do whatever the defaults are, right? Now then, after I did that,
Then you'd step backwards.
I would go into my history palette and I would just go one step back before I cropped it.
Okay.
And now I've got everything again.
Okay.
Now, like I said, it's sort of a dangerous way to do things, but I don't know. That's the way I do it.
Okay.
Now, of course, once we're back here, and also keep in mind there's other scripts here like fit calendar to frame, whatever the heck that will fit it within a certain frame, and there's holidays and extra holiday features in there, so you can explore that and explore the README file, which will explain how to do that. But of course, inside of InDesign, we can make layers, right? So if we click on this layers palette, there's a base layer there, and then there's a layer where they put what's called a calendar text. That's what they did, right? Let's see. Oh, I see. They did that for us. They made an additional layer here where you can write things that are going to be on the calendar.
Okay.
That's very nice of them, right? But we'll make another layer, and we'll call that images.
So I could edit, change the font. Can I move the stuff around?
Let's find out. Let's see how strict they've been with the creation of these things. Let's see. Well, it lets you highlight things. I'm not sure if you would have to set the fonts in that setting window or not, because it looks like this is sort of a more or less finished output. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I'm not seeing the ability to edit these things, but you'd have to go into the notes, the README file, and that big choice thing, and see what it is that our options are in there. But you could definitely, oh, I'm on the wrong layer too, but it's still not letting me edit this stuff. So I'm thinking that once this stuff is in here, about all you can do maybe is colorize.
Or change the font.
Oh yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Let's see if we can colorize these. Oh yeah, cool. Except, didn't that just turn orange?
Yeah.
I told it to be blue, and it was orange. Okay, you're saying maybe we can change the font. Let's see.
No.
Oh, let's see. No, not seeing that happening. So it feels to me like it's actually a script. In other words, it takes whatever fonts are in there and creates it and formats it, and then you're kind of stuck with it unless you want to do things on other layers. Like you could put colors in here, like, I made this layer here called layer 1, right? There's nothing to stop me from making a colored box, and filling it and having it be on a layer underneath this calendar, yeah. Okay, so there's my box. So like, your design here, if you have color that's going for a while, you could just drag a box over like this. Now I'm not quite sure why that is obscuring the numbers.
Can you send it to the back? Or?
Yeah, good idea. But see, it should be on. Oh, I know why. Yeah, I apologize. I'm on the wrong layer. I'm on their layer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and what I should be on is I should make my own layer that I would call something like background. But you're right, sending it to the back would do exactly that. But I think I want to go even further. See, if you're on a layer like layer 1 and you have something selected, this little dot comes up. And you can click on that and drag the dot to another layer. and that will actually move the object to the other layer, right?
Okay.
So now we have the pink background back there on the background layer. So you could, make color blocks like that and stick them behind there to do that. And like we said, you would probably have to explore this script window.
We'd also need to make these boxes smaller because of the graphic in the middle.
Well, what you could do is you could make the page smaller, like see its letter, but you could make it a smaller size, like half or something like that, half of a letter. So
Okay.
8.5 by 5.5 or something.
Okay.
And look, it says show full help, so obviously there's like even more options in here. It doesn't say custom sizes. Oh, here, you could make a custom size for the page right there. English start on Sunday.
And I guess the other option is to create 4 tables. Or is that more complicated?
Yeah, no, that's the other option is, right, exactly. Insert, well, that's what I was originally going to do, was insert 4 tables and turn them in, you could just put numbers in there. And I mean, if you want complete customization control, that's how you can do it. The thing that, is great about this is it just spits them all out,
Right.
So anyway, but you can have this one and experiment with tables.
Okay.
So would you like, do you want to see how we would do it with tables?
Yeah, let's try that.
Okay, so let's go over to this one. And let's just make a text box. Well, maybe we should change the layout of this thing. Pages. Let's see. Now let's go down to document setup. Okay, and then the orientation, make it this way. And then actually, you want a custom size, right? Which is, oh, I think I have it right here. It's like 11.5 by 6.5 or something like that. Okay. So let's just try that. 11.5 inches by 6.5 inches. Okay, so that's that, right? Now, if we're going to make a little table here, we could drag out a text box, which would have a little insert thing in there. And then we could go to table and we could say insert table. And what are we talking about?
Well, 7 columns and 5 rows.
7 columns, 5 rows. Table style, basic table. Okay. Okay, and then is that thing editable in the sense that you can... Now I know that you can go in and edit the styles of a table. You can create table styles. So you've got some options up here for changing your styles, but you can also create styles just for the table. Let's see what the table options are. So table setup. Okay, so these are all the options. So like you can change the strokes around the rows, change the strokes around the column, change the fills so that every other row is a specific color and some percentage of that color.
Okay.
Like, let's make it some crazy, yellow color here, and then let's make the other ones orange or something, just for grins, right? See what it looks like. And let's see, weight, table spacing, space before, space after, preview.
And what about the size of the
cells?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see what this looks like. So when we click off of it, see those are percentages of whatever that was. Now the cells will resize based on how much information you put on them. So like, let's say that's the first, and you hit return, that's going to resize the cells, right?
Okay.
So, just by doing that twice, in each one of these, you're going to get, a table that looks like that. And then you could put 1, 2, 3, 4, blah, 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 all the way across it, right? Now, you have even more options. I mean, the styling options are almost infinite. You can highlight a couple cells. Let's see, cell options, and see the cells themselves can be colored or have strokes around them or have diagonal lines. The alignment can align to the top or the center or the bottom. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you can just drill down to the cell level and
So I'm not creating, because I didn't know about that, and I probably would have created a 1, and you know.
yeah, and done it all manually and
Yeah.
everything, right? So this is the easiest way to change the style of your tables,
Okay.
right? There's another way which is more complex, and what that is over here there is a flyout menu, right? Which
Was that under view?
that is under window.
Okay.
Type in tables and then
Okay.
table, right?
Okay.
And so what this is this controls all that stuff, right?
Okay.
This is that cell styles, and well, actually, this controls all the stuff we just saw, and then this will give you specific options like we were looking at from before, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then, and I don't know that you would have use for this, but there's something called table styles and cell styles, right? And if you drill down into these, you can actually make a whole style and apply it to as many tables as you want, right? So like, let's say that we want to make a new style. So we click on this table styles and we click on this new icon. And now it created something called table style 1. If we double click on that, it gives us this option, right? Now, what you might like about this, I believe this is going to have, I'm not seeing it. This basically has all the same choices. I was hoping it would have one more, but it lied to me. Yeah, okay. So essentially, I don't think this is going to be useful to you, but unless, see, what would happen is you could define your styles in here. I'll go ahead and define some so you can see it at work, right? So we're going to say, okay, we're going to make a style in here. So we're going to make, we're going to give it a red border, and we're going to make it double lines, okay? Space before and space after, row strokes we don't care about. Alternating pattern every other row. We'll do the color will be the tint of this will be, I don't know, 10%. So I'm just playing here, basically trying to get some different options. Okay, here's another 10%. Okay, and column strokes we don't care about. I guess we could fill those with, I guess we should just do this for fun. What's the color I haven't used? And I'll just do that one. Okay, and then fill every other pattern with that we got. Okay, so let's see what the preview would look like. Okay, it's not going to let us preview it because we haven't applied it to anything yet, right? So we're going to call this table style 1. We're going to hit OK. All right. So now, if we click on this table right here, it's using the style called basic table, which is basically what we created, right? But watch, if we click table style 1, let's see, we want to apply it to that. Let's see. This, I want to apply it to that. It's still not working. Okay. Table style 1. It's still not working. That's really helpful. Why aren't you working, you silly thing? Quick apply. Table style 1. Wow. Okay, I'm not really sure what's going on there. Normally, well, here, let's just make a new table and apply it to that, and then we'll see. I don't know why that one is impervious to all harm,
Okay.
but okay, so I'm using my text tool here. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to insert a table. We'll leave all the same options, and see here it says table style 1,
Okay.
right? And it didn't
I
take
copied that.
it didn't take any of our styles, which is really annoying. Okay, there it goes. I hope. No, it didn't. Boy, that's really amazing. Okay, well, I don't know what's going on. I'll have to look into that. But essentially, and you may not have to use it, but essentially you can create table styles and you can apply them to things.
If you're going to do the same.
Yeah, if you want to
Look
do the
every
same
time.
thing for every time, right? Then, but then again, if you make a table and you apply styles to it, it's automatically going to set it as a basic table style. And then when you create a new one, it's going to apply that to it. So in your case, you may not need to do it. This is just if you're making a lot of tables in a big document, you can create styles for each one. And I'll look at whatever the error is that's, not allowing that to take the new style that I want. Let's see if we can get anything to change. Yeah, it's just not doing it. Okay, so I'll look into that and see what's going on there. But okay, so anyway, that's how you can manually make your tables, right? Okay, so what else have we got? Let's look back at our original file here and double click on the hand tool to zoom all the way out, turn on the original layer and off with the cactus hat. Okay, those are the basic elements, right? Is the pictures, the calendars, and then colors and putting text in, right? Okay. So let's talk about how you would get some of your pictures over from here into Photoshop or into InDesign, where you're going to make it, right? So let's, just for the sake of argument, let's use these little wonky tables that we've got. Or actually, let's just copy that one 4 times because then it'll give us something to paste in. But let's shrink it a little. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the, let's see, scale tool. Click there. I'm going to hold down my shift key, grab this, and kind of try and shrink the whole table down a little bit like that. Okay, then I'm going to copy that and then paste it in. Okay, we'll get rid of this crazy thing that didn't work. Okay, and we'll move this guy. I mean, we're just going to place them in here for now. They're not going to be perfect. Okay, and then I've got this one selected. I'm going to hold down my shift key and click on this one, so they're both selected, right? Now another way you can copy things is you can hold down your option key. If you hold down your option key, you get what's called a double-headed arrow there, the black and the white. And then if you click and you drag down, it'll drag out a copy of those. Now after you start dragging, if you then hold down your shift key, it will take those and it will constrain them to be in the exact straight line as everything else is, right? So there is an approximation of our tables. It may not be the final table, but we left a little room in there so we could put the picture in. Okay, so let's see how we would place that picture in. So what we would do is we would go to Photoshop. We're going to go to this view which has just the center object in it, right? And I'm going to do my little trick about cropping it and then uncropping it. So I'm going to hit my crop tool. I'm going to come down here and crop as best I can, leaving those cacti sticking out on the ends, right? Like this kind of thing. And then pull that down a little. I'm not claiming to be perfection here, just get it done. Okay, so then file, save as. I'm just going to call this sun, and of course I'm going to save it as a ping. And hit save, and then after I do that, I'm gonna undo my crop so that I have my file back. That's the thing you have to remember, or else you could screw up your file. So I don't know if I could recommend this to everybody.
Mhm.
Another option to what I just did, if you don't want to mess with the potential screwing up your file, is you could simply go to this layer, draw a box around the object that you want to make into its own file, right? You could
Mhm.
copy it. Sorry, I'm not on the right layer. Now I'm on the sun layer, right? You can copy it, and then you can just say File New, and whatever's in the paste buffer, it will automatically make a file that size, right?
Okay.
So we could call this New Sun, and it'll make an empty file that's exactly that size. We can paste it in, right? And there it is, and of course the background is just a white thing that can be turned off, right?
Okay.
So now you could, this is probably a better way to do it.
Okay.
I'm in the habit of doing it that other way, but it's a dangerous
Mhm.
game. Okay, so we go back here, and now we want to place that image in. So we can go make sure we're on the layer that we created for images. Oh, I'm sorry, that was
That
on this.
the other one,
Yeah, so we'll just make a new layer here, and we'll call it images. Okay, and we'll say file place, and we'll use sun.ping, and it loads up the cursor with the image. You click, and it drops it in there, right? And then you can take it and put it wherever you want it to go. You can of course click on this scaling tool to, and then click on a scale point there. Hold down your Shift key and resize the image to the size you want.
Now the font, it looks,
It looks squirrely, right?
yeah.
Okay, the reason it looks squirrely is because InDesign defaults to a preview mode, which shows things very quickly but not very well.
Okay.
And so to change that, you go under View, and you go under Display Performance, and right now it's what's called Typical Display.
Okay.
But if you go to High Quality Display, it will show you what that really
Okay.
looks like.
Okay.
Okay. So, you know, clearly you can mess with this and do anything you want with it. But this is how you would put the things together. You'd bring all the images in, maybe on an image layer, and I guess let's bring our cactus hat in. And just place it somewhere, and then, you know, put that wherever you want it, right? And then go on to your layer that has, you know, we might call this tables. And, you know, put in your dates, right? You can also, this is an event, you know, type that kind of thing, or make a whole separate layer that's just text,
Okay.
you know.
Now, if it's something like text that goes over a couple of cells.
Yeah, I would make it on a separate. You know what I would recommend to you? Are you thinking you're going to go this way of making these tables?
Yeah,
Okay.
probably.
Then all I would do is put the dates in these,
Okay.
and maybe put a header. This Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday kind of thing, right?
Right.
And then I would have a separate layer, so I wouldn't have this in here. I would actually just make another layer that's just like, we'll call it something like calendar text, or text or whatever. And then I would just use text boxes and just say, no, this is an event, and place that wherever it is you want it to go. You know, so you can use the tables to make the calendars, and once you've made one to the size you want it, you just copy and paste it in all four. You could make the tables without styles. In other words, they couldn't, without the alternating rows of colors in there, and then you
Just
could
make
make
boxes and move them
boxes,
around.
which is probably how I would do it because it's more, it gives you more flexibility. And then you need to clean up the images in Photoshop and just bring them in like this, you know, place them in to wherever you want. So it's, you know, it's a complex operation, a lot of
Yes.
moving parts.
Yes. So if they want to change out this main graphic, it's just a matter of shopping out a new image.
Right.
Because they want to change it a little bit, but they haven't really said exactly how they want to change it.
Yeah, I mean, you can also present them with options. You can say, well, I can cut out and reuse, the majority of these images. I can rebuild the calendars and put in new dates and events, right? And that's going to take me X amount of time. Here's an estimate of a range of time that's going to take me. Or you can buy new images, and you could even, on iStock Photo, you can create an account. You can grab some images and you can save them in something called a Lightbox, which is just a file. And you haven't bought them yet, you've just saved them, right? You could say, and you could open up your iStock Photo account, you could say, we could use one of these images, right? And you could show them, we could use a couple of these images, and you could show them a replacement for the big image, the sun, and then you could show them a page or two of icons, and you could say, and that would total about $100 worth of stock illustration fees, and then of course we'd be able to reuse those images. So then the choice would be really up to them. Are we on a budget and a time crunch here, and do we want to work with the existing and save $100, or do we want to refresh the whole thing and we have the time and money and we're going to pay for it?
Okay. Well, that's good. Yeah, because I was concerned about the cost of new images.
They are pricey. There's no two ways about it. And the fact that you can pretty much save and recycle a lot of these images, I mean, they're going to be paying you for your time. If you don't mind doing it, and they understand that it is going to take time to go in there, at least a few hours to go in there and grab those and clean them up. I mean, honestly, here's the other thing. It's probably, I don't know what you're charging them or whatever, but it may cost them as much to have you rebuild, recycle these images as it would to buy the new ones. I don't know. You could factor that into your decision too. But both ways are possible, and so you have both options available to you.
Do you do graphic design work for people?
I do, yeah.
What is a typical rate?
Well, there is no typical rate. There are ranges. And I don't have my finger on the pulse of what people are currently charging, but I think the range for somebody who's doing this professionally would probably be somewhere in the $40 to $60 an hour range. Who's doing it professionally, somebody right out of college might charge $25 or $35 an hour, and somebody who's got their own studio and this is all they do might charge $100 an hour.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's sort of the ballpark I was thinking too. I mean, and I've done some work for the gardens. I used to work there, so my boss contacted me to do this.
Okay, great.
So, I didn't charge them a lot, but I'm also very green at it. So I think I'm probably on par with fresh out of college people.
Like $30 an hour kind of thing. Yeah. Fine. I mean, everybody wins. They pay a low rate. You learn. You beef up your portfolio. It's all good, right? Yeah, absolutely. And when I say that fresh out of college rate, some people hit that $25, $30 hour rate and they just stay there for a long time because it's a depressed economy, and if people have a choice, they're going to go with somebody that's lower cost and stuff like that.
Right.
So.
Plus, I suspect that if I continue to do this kind of work, it'll most likely be for nonprofits. So probably keep the
rate low.
Keep the rates manageable so that I can do work.
Right.
I don't price myself out of it.
The other thing you can do, I mean, it's a little bit of a trick, but you could say, my rate is normally $40 an hour, and I give 25% discount to nonprofits. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the main project that you're working on right now?
This was the one that I didn't know how to approach. So this is great, and they don't need it until like May 12th. So I have lots of time to play with it, and this has given me a lot of good tips to
to start with.
to work with.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was the fact that all of these images were all locked in, but it's nice to know that it's possible to pull them out individually and get them.
Okay, I'm going to save these two. So did you have other things that you're working on?
Well,
Or other questions? There was a Photoshop thing in there, wasn't there? Like about how to. Well, go ahead. I'll let you
yeah.
finish.
If it changed at all, I don't want to see the changes. So I've been doing a lot of work for the Hermitage.
Okay.
So I feel like my brochures that I do for them have grown a bit in terms of not looking like someone with the most basic InDesign skills, but I don't know if I have a specific question. Let's see. Sponsor brochure. So I feel like I'm getting better, but it still feels really clunky to me.
Okay.
So I do a lot of trifold brochures for them,
Uh-huh.
and so this is the interior of that one. But like the text, I don't know, just I don't mind it. I think it's better than the very first brochure I did for
Mhm.
them, but I don't know if there's something that might make it look a bit even more professional or
Okay. There are some. This might be a place to go for some ideas. You could. There's a few free templates, and then there's plenty that you can purchase. You don't have to purchase the ones that are for sale, but you can look at them for ideas. So let's see, free InDesign brochure template. I know there's at least one of them out there, and then there's some websites that have some amazing amount of stuff on them. All right, so here's a Zanetti Business Trifold brochure. That's Photoshop, InDesign, Illustrator, and Photoshop. Oh wow! So it's all three. So template it's all three, or does it use all three? Swiss Minimal Design. Oh, now that one's for sale, I think. That one's a premium one. Yeah. Well, let's see. It says they say download. So, I'm gonna. Wow. 1 to 10 of 459. That's
see
insane.
that one I think is really cool.
This one? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, this one has a buy. Okay.
Right.
So, and then the ones that are download have got to be free, right?
Right.
So, are there any that say download that you might be interested in looking at?
Well, I suppose that one is.
Okay, sure. Let's look at this one. Graphic River, though, they always sell everything. Oh, see, I hate this. Yeah, well, anyway, if you did want to buy, these guys are out of control. These guys have so many brochures that and templates that it's insane.
If it's only $8, then that doesn't seem like such a.
It's really not much of a deal. I mean, so it shows 2 InDesign. It's got 2 InDesign templates, 2 Illustrator, and 1 Photoshop. So for $8, that's pretty huge. Now, okay, and it's a free brochure, right? Okay, yeah. So these guys have got a huge amount of brochures. So let's look up brochures. I mean, just look at this stuff. I mean, it's really out of control, and I'm sure they're all pretty cheap like that. And so here we have brochures, informational. Look at, oh my gosh, look at the numbers. 445.
Oh my God.
And look, the prices are ridiculous. So this is an absolute cornucopia of
Okay, so just
resources.
play around in there and see.
Yeah, just find some. I mean, you could just knock your game up right away by
Mhm.
getting one of these, by spending $10 on one of
Okay.
these and using all their options,
Okay.
right? Um, yeah, I mean, it's looking good, but I see what you mean. You always want to step up to the next
Yeah,
level.
yeah. Do you do much photo editing in Photoshop? You were talking about
No,
Word.
it normally just works and continues working. So it's just a bad hair day for this stupid thing. But anyway,
But
this is the
Graphic
website to go to get the brochures very inexpensively. GraphicRiver.net.
Okay. So let's see.
Photoshop image editing. Yeah, I mean, I do all my image editing in Photoshop.
Okay. Most of the stuff I've done for the restaurants is offloaded because there's so many. But this was one that I did yesterday, and it was actually in a controlled light situation, so that these images are much more usable than what I normally have.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
but
Yeah, open up. Do you have Lightroom on there?
mhm.
Okay, do this. Open up Lightroom. Okay, and can you go open one of those photos in here?
Just from where? See, I'm not even sure where to.
Oh yeah. Well, let's see. Actually, you probably have Adobe Bridge on your computer, right?
Mhm.
Open up Adobe Bridge if you can go find it. It's going to be in your applications folder. Yeah. Lots of kitties.
Yes.
They're usually full over there, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay, so these are the pictures in Bridge.
Mhm.
Okay, for
No.
some reason we're in
Oh, no,
iPhoto
it's
here. Oh, I see. You double click that and it opens it in iPhoto. I see. Okay, so what we need to do is get one of those out of iPhoto. So let's go back to iPhoto. And click on an image that you want to edit. Maybe one that's kind of too dark or something like that. And okay, see if it'll let you copy it. Can you go up to the edit and do copy? Yeah, try that. And then go into Lightroom and see if you can create a new file. So file. Oh wow, catalogs, huh? Yeah, no, I don't like the way this is set up. Let's go to Photoshop. We'll edit it in there. Okay, just go File New and hit Enter. Or okay, yeah. And then do Edit Paste. Okay, so there's your image, right? Now, the first thing that you normally do is go under Edit, and then, I'm sorry, go to Image, and then Adjustments, and then go to Levels. And then you can hit your auto button there and see how it does. And if it doesn't do much, you can grab your white slider there, which is the amount of white, and start moving it to the left. And let go for a second, see if it updates. Is it getting lighter?
I know, that's what I was looking at too. I was wondering if the preview wasn't on, but it is.
Yeah, okay, go. Oh, it is. I see.
It's just-
Now, what you have to do is you have to look at the super white points, and when they get super washed out, then that's too far. So, unless you're going to crop it. I
Yeah,
mean,
this would be cropped.
oh, well then forget it.
Okay.
Just get this part looking the way you want it to look.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good looking. Is that chicken?
No, it's pork. It's
No, no.
giant pork chop.
Yeah, it's good looking. Now, but it is going to white out
Yeah,
this too. So, you know, unfortunately, that's one where you can only do so much with the light. You know. But anyway, you can improve that somewhat, and then hit OK when you're ready. And then the next one we can go to is under Image Adjustments, and I would go to Curves, and click once there,
In the white spot.
right there, and once right here. Okay, now take each of those dots and move it to the left and to the right, and notice how it changes your image. Yeah, so that's too much. I think your computer's updating after you let go. So you might want to move it a little and then let go. Right? So that top one makes the light part of the image lighter or darker, and the bottom dot makes it lighter or darker, depending on whether you move to the left or the right. So yeah, some common shapes that people get are a reverse S, which is what you have, an S, which is the opposite of that, and an arc, which is just something that goes like that. So, you know, you can just get something you like and hit OK on that.
It's like it's changing the color.
It is. It's changing it to more psychedelic.
Yeah.
But at least now you can see some of the food that's on the plate
Right.
besides the man-eating pork chop. Yeah, and hit OK. Okay, and then let's go under Image, Adjust, and let's go to Exposure, and you can move that top one to the right and the left and see how it does. It's more. These are more general, right? And you know, get that where you want it. Hit OK, and then the last one, Image Adjustment and Brightness Contrast. This is the order I go in, but other people may go in a different order. So these are pretty major adjustments. Now, if this was the only picture I had to work with, I would be very tempted to do what you're doing, get this to look perfect, and then I would probably clone stamp this table so that it was all like this and this, and just crop everything else out so I had a usable picture. Now, you probably have more pictures than this.
Yeah.
And we just wanted to work with one that was kind of dark. So now everything that we just did, you know, you open it up and you have like, you know, one or two of those little levers that you can hit, right? When you do it in Lightroom, you have like 12, you know, and so it gives you way more subtle, you know, choices. The way your Lightroom's set up right now, it looks like it's set up to do catalogs or something like that. I'm not really familiar with that setup, but I can show you sometime on my version of Lightroom. Yeah, I'm not really sure if that's what that's all about. Import catalog, collections. I don't know what the heck that is. It almost looks like we're in some other weird section of Lightroom. Can you just go File, Open, and see what happens? I think we did an Open Catalog. Import photos and videos. Wow, that's just really weird to me. Okay, we'll have to come back to that because I don't know that there's a lot I can do in this setup of it right here.
It's weird. Yeah, I played with it for like a few days after I got it, and then I just never went back to it.
Yeah, it's not. Well, it's because what it's showing you is not. I mean, it looks like it's currently set right now to work with collections of images, and I'm used to opening it with just single images, and yeah, see if you can open anything.
So where would all my other photos be?
That's a hell of a question. Or do you store things on your desktop or in your documents folder?
Well, all the photos.
They're all in iPhoto?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't like iPhoto because of the way it stores things. I mean, I know when you plug a camera in, it pulls them all in iPhoto, but what I do is then I just go in iPhoto and I grab them all and I copy them into a folder on my desktop so I don't have to deal with iPhoto anymore. So do you want to see how to do something like that from iPhoto?
Sure.
Okay, go into iPhoto. And then, so what I normally do, if I can use your computer here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to do hide others. And the purpose of that is just so I can see my desktop, right? Then I'll do like Command N, which of course doesn't work anymore. Let's see. Come on. I thought you worked. No, it still doesn't. Okay. Doesn't work either time. Okay, so I'll go File, New Folder. And it creates a new folder on my desktop, right? And I'll call this Images. I mean, you can give it whatever name you want. Okay. And then what I'll do is I will select all my images by doing Command A. And then I'll do, see, and it's not letting me do this. That's what I really hate about this program. So like, what is Share going to let me do? Just email them?
You probably have to do file export, I guess.
Export. Let's see, file export, JPEG.
I won't lose what's in iPhoto, right? Because there's a mix of RAW and JPEG images in these.
Well, can we try just one image?
Sure.
So we don't mess anything up. So what's one you don't care that much about?
You can pick any one of the.
Oh, well, these are whole sections. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why it didn't let us do it. Let me try this. So now we're into a whole section, right? Yeah, see, that's what you do. So now you can copy them. So.
It's a lot of pictures. It might take a while.
Oh, okay. Let's do a little version of it then. Let's just do one. Cute kitties. Okay, so there it goes, right? So what I'll do is I'll just pull everything out of iPhoto and just put it into folders.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you can do with, like if you come back sometime, we can set up Adobe Bridge and Lightroom to be connected.
Okay.
And what will happen is you'll just open Bridge and you'll use that to navigate to your images folder. And then you know how Bridge, you can see the images real big and you can look, you know, in there, and then you pick the image you want and you can double click on it. It'll launch in Lightroom. And then on the right hand side there will be all these little levers and there will be all these little tabs. And then it gets to like a really granular level of the photographs, you know, and then you can edit them. And then you can save them, and from there you can open them in Photoshop and do whatever else you need to do with them. But it's incredible. I mean, Lightroom, when it's set up properly, like that image that we just saw, the pot roast, pork chop. I mean, it will literally, Lightroom is capable of bringing all the light back in that area without overemphasizing that other part. Yeah, I mean, it's that good. It's kind of, the first time you see it, you're like, it's like Photoshop times 10.
Wow.
So it's worth doing at least once to show you the potential of that. You know?
Okay. All right. Well, I have been offloading out of iPhoto onto our server, so eventually, I guess I could just.
Oh, pull everything off the server, or okay. And when you say server, is it an actual computer or is it a hard drive? Okay.
I don't know how he has it set up, but it's huge because I just have tons, and then the Photoshop documents, and you know, I've eaten up so much space.
Yeah.
On my computer, so.
Yeah, and you got to offload them so that you can. I mean, that's a little guy, and it probably needs all the juice it can get, right? Mm-hmm. But I love that. I want that because look at this thing. I mean, just feel.
Yeah.
It's like.
I'm sure that there's a version of this with more memory. It's just that
Oh yeah.
we didn't, this is a few years old now, so we didn't necessarily know that this was coming with all of these photos and the graphic programs and the InDesign files and all that.
Okay.
They take up so much space. So it'd probably be worth getting another.
Getting
computer.
getting a newer one that has way more memory and hooking it up to a portable hard drive and all that.
Right.
Yeah, that's probably my next purchase is a little Air like that because I'm tired of lugging this
Yeah.
brick around. You know.
You have so much on there too. Though.
Yeah, I know it's nuts. Okay, what we need to do is get these files to you.
Okay.
So probably a flash drive if I can find one around here.
Oh, you know what? I may have.
Oh, do you have one?